Hey y'all, good evening. Good evening, good evening. Ah, how are everybody doing? How's everybody doing, y'all? What's that? What's that? What's that? Mm, mm. On this good Thursday. Trying to tell you, boo, it's going down. Look at this. Now, this is a picture when she was just a trustee. Guys, good evening. Good evening. Get in here. Get in here. This is when she was a trustee. Now, y'all let me know. This was a beautiful picture, right? Oh, this was cute. Beautiful picture. Beautiful. I'm just saying. Go ahead, baby. You just do that one. Yes, but we about to get into it. We about to get into it. We about to get into a couple things. Some of the trustees went on Joe Brown. We had another interview with Lavar. Well, what's the name? Laval. He was basically the guy that Tiffany hired under her administration that was accused of as staying in the jail and he wasn't supposed to be around kids and she made him the inspector and like a what they call, not a janitor but a he was a home inspector and he was also like a fix up guy like a maintenance man or something. Yeah. So we gonna do those interviews today. We gonna bounce through them. Da 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 da. I ain't gonna hold you off for long because I got on here too late. Hmm. Got on me. So I'm gonna just fuck around, have some fun. You know what I'm saying? Anybody want to hit the link? The link is in the chat. All is welcome. So don't be afraid to speak your opinion. Everybody's opinion is a good opinion over here. Y'all already know, but yeah, we're about to get into some things. Yes, honey. So we're gonna get into this clip about the good burger thing, but I don't even know. It just popped up today. Somebody else in their Dalton little page had just refreshed it. So I'm gonna just play that a little bit. It's only like a little clip, but we're gonna get into that. How everybody doing? Put them eyes in the chat if you in here. If you in here, put the eye in the chat. Let me see ya. All right, so let's get into this. But anyway, this is how Tiffany looked before she became a mayor. She was just a trustee at this point. She looked really cute. This was a beautiful picture. Yes, let's get in some mess, y'all. Let's get in some mess. Yeah, so we're gonna check out this good burger stuff. Um, well, as I know that the restaurant did not exceed the way that she wanted it to be. Um, I'm not sure what they were selling there, but yeah, it did not last that long. And then she got y'all know she got a truck, like a food truck that is not active either. You wasted all this money on these things that is not successful for you. That's crazy. On the taxpayers' money. Once again.
At Tiffany's Good Burger and Soul Food, located at 634 Burnham. I started with banana pudding, peach cobbler, sweet potato pie, and caramel cake. old school. When old school on you, huh? The demand was so ridiculous. Sales went up 30% on the milk. Can you believe that? The dean, the teachers, everybody was looking for me. So I had to duck and dodge from security because they told me, you can't sell that in here. That's what we got vending machines for. Their sales stop and my sales increase.
We're going to be bankrupt.
That's another one.
So that's the biggest problem that I had with you, Mayor, because there's no transparency. We want to know, when you came to my house, I told you, where is the money? The residents want to know, where is the money? We need to know that. And back then, you were a trustee. You would not dare vote for anything without any reports. So why?
Well, I think I know where the money is. The money is with Good Burger. Good Burger got the money. All of it. Because, oh, Good Burger have the money, honey. And it's just still sitting there wasting money. Wasting money. And then she went on to, when she became the mayor, she made the skate ring. Which is gorgeous. I love it. You know, so last week we took a sneak peek into that. But yeah, her Good Burger bus, food truck, or whatever, and the restaurant did not go good. Yeah, so that was just a little back story or whatever. We about to get into the interview. I'm gonna start the interview with Jedediah and Laval first. So let's get into that. I'm gonna be in and out. The chat is open. Y'all can, yeah, man, y'all know what to do. Guys. Yeah. This is Lavar Redond, the guy that had got locked up. We're gonna explain all of that right now. So let's hear what he's saying. I want him to tell y'all. I don't want to say what he said. I want y'all to see what he said.
For my role in helping elect her. And I say that because I truly, and I'm sure the trustees that are sitting on the panel did too, everybody genuinely believed that she would do what she said she would do. I think that she completely did a 360 when she got in office. But in answering your question, there's been nothing good in my life as a child. And I won't use this platform to play victim, because I'm not a victim for anyone. But I was never really a wholesome child. And so, and I'm leading up to your question. And so, when I was young, I was environment driven, meaning that all the vices that go on in slum areas and all that, I succumbed to that. And I became a very bad child. Hung up with the wrong group of kids, all that. The same stories you hear with these boys doing right now. I won't throw my parents under the bus, but I will say this if you can understand it. My mother and my father had their own demons. And I'll keep it right there, but when I needed them the most, they were the very best versions of what they were when I needed them the most, and it wasn't enough for me. So I was consumed by the vices in the ghetto. And subsequently, I became a very troubled young man. I yearned to hang out with all the wrong groups. The badder, the worser, the better it was for me. Fast forwarding to your question. What I went through, what God put me through in prison, I got completely destroyed and then transmogrified and made something different, whether people choose to believe that or not. But the fact is, when I was able to come out to the village and help somebody to do something meaningful, it meant a lot to me. And so when I seen her young, Black, she's a woman, I've been accused for these horrible crimes against women, I just felt it was an opportunity for me to give the best version of it. And so I wanted to help her, and I did everything I could to help her. I was out on the streets of Dalton, 2, 3 in the morning, passing out literature about Riley being a wife beater and all this nonsense I don't know nothing about. I flipped a lot of votes because I fashion myself as being a person that's well spoken when I need to be. I flipped a lot of votes. A lot of people did not want her to be the mayor. I don't think she understands that. Karen Johnson did the same thing. But I talked to so many residents that was just completely transfixed on not wanting to see her face as the mayor of Dalton. And that's a fact. But I talked to them when I was a code enforcement officer. I would talk to them. You know, they were very adamant about her getting out of that office when she got recalled. Well, I talked to a lot of them, give her another chance. She's young, she's still developing spiritually and obviously mentally. But yeah, so in answering your question, it was a chance for me to do something meaningful, something I can hold on to and say, you know what, I helped put that sister in office. She made history, and I gotta tell you, I regret it. I do regret it, you know.
Yeah, but what I want to ask you specifically is about, as a code enforcement officer, how did the residents entreat you? How was that experience for you?
Okay, so here's the deal. So I've always been a person, and don't use this to crack a joke. I'm just being honest. And Nikita used to tease me about this when she was PRing for Tiffany. I've always been a person that's been perceived to be well dressed. And even when I was a code enforcement officer,
okay.
Yeah. So they used to tease me all the time. They used to call me deacons, detectives. Nikita would catch me telling me I'm the prettiest, you know what I mean? All type of stuff. They would just crack on me 24/7. Yes, all that.
That's president.
Everything. And then I would carry a badge on my hip. So in answering your question, when I got ushered all over the news by the people at certain radio station I'm not going to mention, people did not associate that face on the news to the person that they saw driving around in the village.
Wow.
Because my imagery was different. And then I was well spoken. I respected everybody. You know what I mean? People respected me. So people just could not believe that I was the face that was being plastered all over the news for a certain crime. Even when people, even when they did find out who I was, a lot of people, you know, when they got the details, because a lot of people just ran with the news. Some people did their actual research. They Googled me and learned I was a child with other children, and older and adult. And they understood, because a lot of people, I mean, let's face it, we won't went this a racist thing, we Black. You know, we all have nephews in prison, uncles, fathers. A lot of us understand the story about being sucked into the vices on the streets and subsequently getting sucked in by the judicial system, made an example out of. And I was no exception to that. You know, when I was a child, I was probably borderline retarded. And we don't use a better word. I was slow to develop. Okay. And so were the boys around me, you know, in their defense. In hindsight, you know, I'm almost 50 years old.
But I want to talk about that. I want to kind of go down that road a little bit, because you said that there were people who, well, first of all, I can believe that. I've said the few times I've seen you, I can tell that you care about your presentation. Excellence is, you definitely present excellence every time. But I want to kind of go into some of that, because, and this is based off of information that we've had, these are things people talk about. You said there were those that went and did the research. So in 1991, you was accused, or it was found that you had committed a sexual assault with a weapon and sentenced at the age of 17 to 50 years in prison.
So this is what happened. Now, I won't get into too much detail. Like I told you, I'm writing a book eventually. Okay. So when I went to prison, and this gets me a little upset, just the details and what they're doing in the judicial system. When I went to prison, none of us knew anything about jail or laws or attorneys or none of it. Anything that has anything to do with jail. When you're a teenager, you're completely dumbfounded because you're ignorant to it. You know, and I was 15 years old when I went to jail. When you commit a certain kind of crime, or you're involved in a certain kind of crime, they charge you as an adult. Okay, when they charge you as an adult, that's called an AT, which means automatic transfer to the county when you turn 17, because they can't put you around grown-ups when you're still a child. But they send you to places like the Audi home, which is some other terms considered juvenile detention. Okay, if you're convicted as a juvenile, you go to children penitentiaries like Valley View, Little Joliet, St. Charles, Hasburg. Those are little children prisons. But when you get charged as an adult, if you don't take a plea before you turn 17, when you turn 17, they put you in Cook County Jail with adults. Okay. Which is what happened to me. So when I turned 17, they sent me to Cook County Jail. And even in Cook County Jail, they don't initially put you around grown men. And there's 4 decks that they put juveniles on, usually like the school wing. But they keep the juveniles particularly away from the grown-ups because they view you as being vulnerable to a degree, even when you go to prison. So they are careful to separate grown-ups from kids, even when you get charged as an adult, unless you start doing silly stuff behind bars, and then they don't care where they put you. If you troublesome, they'll throw you anywhere. And so,
and I think that I think that society needs to know a lot more about the system and the way that it targets and how predatory it is. And I hope that your book that you will write will explore those topics. But even with the system, I think it's important if you can answer were you guilty.
Partially. Of course, we all know, or if you don't know, we all know about the accountability law. If you're there, you're guilty. Bottom line. In prison, they have a term for your rappy, co-defendant, whatever you want to call it. If you were there, you're guilty. Bottom line. And then they have another silly term that's only for probably Latinos and blacks, just being honest, which is ignorance is no excuse for the law. No child knows anything about the law, much less most adults. So when you go into the judicial system, if you don't have an attorney, you are going to jail. You are going to prison. I don't care who you are. You have to understand, public defenders work for the state. They don't work for you. They get paid whether you get found guilty or innocent. And likely, they are definitely not going to do any legwork or any paperwork to try to justify your innocence. So you are going to prison if you don't have a lawyer. I don't care who you are. And you're going to get a lot of time. So what the state basically does, in my case, so people can understand the totality of why I took the plea of guilty, because this is probably the most important thing you need to know about what they do to our boys and little girls. So when you go to trial, you cost the state money. When you take a plea agreement, they cut off certain times, or they'll have you plead guilty to certain crimes in order to give you a set determinate sentence to not cost the state any money for a trial. That's what they do. But let's just say you're involved in a crime. You didn't do 90% of what they're charging you for. Let's just say they gave you a high count number. They gave you 36 counts or whatever charges it was. They say, listen, we'll knock off, out of that 30 counts, we'll knock off 28 counts for you to plead guilty for this amount of counts. Just so you don't get 100 years, we'll give you 30 years if you cop out this. The truth is they're making a deal for you not to cost the state any money for a trial. So they throw the plea in your face, even if you're not guilty, even if you argue, whatever the case is, you're going to take the plea because you feel like I got a public defender. He's not going to defend me. I don't know any legal terms if I go in the courtroom. They don't want you to talk when you go in the courtroom. You don't know what to say if they allowed you to talk when you go in the courtroom. So automatically you're in fear of getting the maximum time. So you're going to take a plea whether you're guilty or not. That's the snare that they put most kids in the system. You know?
So in March of 1991, at the age of 14 or 15, was you a part of a gang rape?
I was there. Me and another boy wasn't part of the sexual act, but we were there. We were there.
But you didn't rape anybody, is what you're saying.
Listen, they got DNA testing, okay? DNA testing can prove all that.
So I'm asking you explicitly say it. Would it prove you did or you did?
Here's what I'm going to tell you. I didn't want to say that because I want to put it in my book. So my answer would have been suffice. It would have been positive for you to read the book, but now you just ushered me into making that decision.
My bad.
Okay, I didn't want to
I'm
say
still buying the book. We don't get this book is still gonna get sold, but I think it's important.
Okay, so no, I didn't rape anybody in 1991. I was there, and if I'm going to be transparent and honest.
Okay, well no, let's save them details for the book.
Okay.
You said no. We hear you. And so there was, and I'm saying this on the record, there was.
So mind you, even if you didn't do it, you accessory to the crime. And that's why you probably got time and charged with that. And that's something that cannot come off your record at the end of the day. So I mean, sometimes these young ones hang around the wrong crowd, the wrong people. And they be the ones that get in trouble, even if you didn't do it. The judge don't want to hear that. You was there. You was there. Okay, and you gonna get this too. Period. That's just how it works.
An accountability law. If you were present,
You're guilty.
you're guilty.
Uh,
That is a fact. There's a lot of laws in the land that have targeted African Americans, the war on drugs. This is not an unfamiliar narrative
and
that we
Latino.
have been black and brown. Look at you trying to help everybody.
It's the truth.
So literally, this is a fact that the laws have been designed for our demise and for the deterioration of the fabric of our families and of our black men. And I hear you. And I think that is so important because being a man that have had many rumors hurled at me, it's important that people do the research. And that's the thing with society. You got to look at the facts. You got to do the research and not just the rumor. So I'm going to take what you said and I'm going to continue to research it and literally say to you that I cannot imagine then being from 15 to actually having a role that you didn't necessarily ask for, but that you're trying to do it to the best of your ability, now being painted across America as this mentor. How did that feel and how did you get through that?
I don't want to sound cocky, so let me be very frank, but also very modest in my answer to that. When they plastered me all over the news, Tiffany's PR told me it was coming. I knew it was coming. She knew it was coming. So when it happened, I was expecting it, but I walked to work the next day with a briefcase and a suit on and asked anybody up in there, did they want coffee? Just like I did any other day. So people were concerned about me because a lot of people respect me. Some people were baffled because they just didn't expect for that. They didn't know what to believe. I will say this, Carmen Carlise, I will say she was the only person that came in the mailroom and checked up on my well-being and said, how are you doing? And I appreciated her for that. Even though I'm sure she's been charged with a lot of other stuff since then, but I don't know nothing about that. But she was the only person in Village Hall that came and checked up on me.
Carmen Carlise, who is the trustee at Thornton Township, who has now started to actually take a bigger stand against the administration. So let me ask you this question. When this news that's coming, that when it's understood this is coming, because I want to understand the inner workings of the administration and Tiffany, does she protect you or does she drop you?
My answer to this may ruffle a few feathers, but I got to be very honest. Tiffany, I'll say this, and I don't want to be demeaning to her character. Tiffany she's just a person that's marked by having a weak mind. And I'll say that because she initially wanted to keep and hang on to me. And when she introduced me to Keith Freeman for the first time, I told her he was a weasel. I told her he wasn't no good. And she thought she found the holy grail of protection or something. I don't know what it was. But anyhow, I told her he was no good. I saw jealousy in his face when she introduced me to him. He had a trench coat on, sweatpants, no socks, and a size 14 shoe or something, whatever he had on.
And ashy ankles.
I didn't see the ankles.
I heard about him. I seen him.
But when she introduced me to him, I told her he wasn't no good. And so
I'm sorry, Lavar. I'm sorry. This is very serious, but INA is a little ghetto. I need my shoes. Can somebody give me my shoes? Okay. I was trying to do like this. My legs is tired of sitting like that, and I didn't want them to see that I have my shoes on my feet. But now you know I got my shoes on my feet. Sorry about that. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Well, they know now. Go ahead.
So, yeah. I think she wanted to keep me at first, maybe for reasons of her own personal gain. I think she wanted to keep me around because she did still very much have that crush on me. But let me backpedal for a minute so you can get a full view of what I was telling you initially earlier. So when I told her that I had a background, and she said, well, that was 30-some years ago, the first revelation that hit me was I saw a degree of coldness in her. Because what if I was guilty? You just completely shunned, what I told you.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so Sammy Young told her at the time, he said, listen, Tiffany, he says, as the mayor, you can't hire him as your personal detail. He said, but what you can do is you can send him to a security firm and you can hire him as your personal bodyguard outside of the Village of Dalton salary. And so she said, okay, well, send him to a security firm. So Sammy made means to help me with that. And she initially will say, what's the word people are fond of using when they're guilty or they know the truth, but they don't want to say allegedly. She allegedly was supposed to hire Sammy Young as chief of police for Dalton and then followed through with that promise. And so they had a falling out, which is why I never became her personal bodyguard, even though I was doing personal bodyguard off the record and off of pay, all the way until she was the mayor. I would show up at every event. We went to a fundraiser, and I'll tell you why I did it. We went to a fundraiser, and I forgot what suburb. We was way out in the middle of somewhere, and they had live band, and they did dancing and all this drinks. And her uncle, she got an uncle named Sweat, and he came up to me. And this is when she started entertaining the other guy she's with. I won't say his name because he's unimportant to me. But the fact is, she was entertaining him at the time. And her uncle Sweat called me to the bar. He said, man, listen to me. He said, I'm going to tell you like I told the other guy. He said, both of y'all look good with my niece. He said, I don't care who wins. He said, treat my niece right. I said, you ain't got to tell me that. I'm going to do that regardless. But at every event, I showed up to do security work for her because he told me to make a promise to never let nothing happen to my niece. And I told her, I promise you, under my watch, nothing will happen to her. And I meant that. Everywhere she was, I made a mental note to be there. Whether she forgot to call me there or whether she requested it, I was there. And people didn't, they would not have played with her in my presence. So I'll just leave it at that.
So if I could just have a moment of clarity here, did you win? Did she become your girl?
Well, here's the deal. I laughed inside mentally. And I'm not trying to be a comedian.
Oh, the bill you lost.
No,
I
I didn't lose. And I'll tell you what, I heard some YouTuber, I forgot his name. I don't know if it was Hannibal. I don't want to demonize Hannibal, but whatever the person was on YouTube that said that Tiffany had the first guy and dumped him and went with the married man. Let me clarify that very quickly for you if you're watching this. Tiffany didn't leave me alone. I left her alone. That's facts. And the reason why I left her alone is because I saw that, and I won't say his name because he's unimportant, but anyhow, I saw that she was trying to deal
What's
with
up,
him
Fat Meg? What's up,
and deal with
baby?
me. So one day I was in Hyde Park and my truck started smoking real bad. And I was with Tiffany's cousin, Dion. So I called Tiffany because I would call her at any time of the day or night. I called her and I told her, I'm kind of pissed. My truck broke down. And she said, well, you want me to send you a flatbed? I said, no. She had me on speaker. Or maybe she didn't have me on. Maybe her phone was just sensitive where I could hear the audio outside of it. Anyhow, I heard a gentleman's voice. So I asked her, I said, you got me on speaker? She was like, no, you ain't on speaker. I said, who is that you with? And she was like, no, this just, this the gentleman's name. I said, okay. So she was like, and I had a habit of calling her baby. that was just my word. It came out naturally. I beg. So she, I'm not an idiot. I protected her. I see that she obviously was lying to this dude too, and saying that me and her was just cool friends. I was just the bodyguard.
So who was she
old
with,
muscular
yo?
body. I see what she was doing because I see
He not gonna say who she was with. So was she with Keith? So was she with Keith? Oh no, this is getting real juicy. Who y'all think it was? Was it Keith or was it Kamar? It could have been Andrew at this point.
She was getting probably a little insecure because she was on the phone with me and I called her baby. So she made a note to clean that up. She was like, hey, JB, I was just telling him you call me baby. We just cool like that. And so I seen that she wanted me to help her out right then and there. So I played it all well. I was like, yeah, that's my homegirl. I call her baby all the time. I call my mama baby. But in my head, I'm like, okay, she told me that she was only friends with this guy. But I guess she's telling this guy she's only friends with me too. So let me clear this up very quickly. I'm gonna tell you why I left Tiffany alone. And this is very true because I was very loyal to Tiffany to the point where I probably would have ended up back in prison over her. I would not let nobody harm her. I wouldn't let nobody speak down on her. And that's just the way I'm built. I wasn't raised that way. I had no mentors that taught me how to be a real man of integrity. That's just the fabric of my character. I genuinely wanted to see her win, and reach new heights out here. But yes, I would have probably ended up with one of those federal subpoenas if I would still been on the team Tiffany. There's no doubt about it. And I don't deny it.
And with that, and so one of the things that my team has been a lead that we had on point is that Tiffany knew that and might have asked you, or she might have expressed to you her discontentment for the trustees. You unpack that up for us all?
I'll put the details of that in my book. But I will tell you that she had a lot of contempt for the trustees. I think genuinely all of them had their hearts in the right place. They were all on a ticket. They all had a dream team. And I don't want to, because a lot of people beat up on Tiffany a lot. And I'm just going to say this, it's just a matter of opinion. I think initially everybody had the idea to run the town for the people, do for the people, use the resources for the people, have a dream team. We all like one big family, even though all of us wasn't too intimate with each other like that, but we were like a family and they all ran on the same ticket to do something meaningful for the town of Dalton. I think when Tiffany got in office, and this is the way, and I don't want anybody to be like, well, he's making incendiary remarks against women. I call her weak-minded because she literally allowed power and money to corrupt her almost immediately. Almost immediately. And so I say weak-minded because money is only going to enhance what you were already. Whatever you are, when you get a certain level of clout, it's going to, escalate it. So I say she's weak-minded because she allowed a couple of people in the village to get in her ear and poison her ear towards me. And she knew without a shadow of a doubt, and Karen Johnson, that we had her back no matter what. So for her to allow a weasel like Keith, and I'm not gonna say prostitute, let me not say that. I'm just gonna
Okay.
I'm not gonna say that either, allegedly. Allegedly. So she allowed these people to get in her ear and completely derail me and Karen. And I did see, here's what you need to understand, because obviously you wasn't around for this part. In my time of being in the campaign office, everybody got along from what I saw. I would see Jason all the time in there, Kiana, Allison Keys, everybody got along. And I still don't know. And maybe somebody knows something I don't know. I don't see nothing, and I'm not saying this in defense of the trustees, because I'm neutral as far as I'm my own man. I speak how I speak. I didn't see nothing that they did that would have caused her to jump off the cliff and start acting the way she started acting with them. I didn't see nothing that would have transpired. You know what I mean? But what I do,
but can you give us understanding though? Because if you what did she, if she was potentially corrupted, what changed with her or with them?
that's the $1 million question, because my experience of being around them, I mean, Jason, it was like a home. The campaign was like a home to all of us.
Yeah,
so
no, but what did she do?
I don't know what she did.
You say
all I know. This is all I know. All I know is that I seen her character transmogrify almost instantly when she started getting certain levels of power and start getting influential people around her who she feel could usher her to new heights. I started seeing her change up and switch up, even with me. So once I see you switching up with me and I care about you, I'm just gonna step back and let you learn whatever lesson you gotta learn on your own, which is what I did. So the reason how me and Tiffany fell out, and if she does watch this, which I'm sure she's gonna find a way to watch this, let this be clarity for you, because I'm sure that she's told a lot of people, JB a snake, he flipped on me, he ain't loyal. I'm gonna tell you why I did what I did. And this is for the record. This is why I jumped off Team Tiffany. So I initially told Tiffany Keith was a snake. I told her he was a snake. So she thought that he was the newest, best thing she'd ever found on the planet. You know what I mean? So she let him poison her mind, turn against Nikita, turned against Karen, turned against me for about 3 people. That was the married dude, the prostitute, the black woman, the black woman who's had challenges. Let me just say it. And Keith Freeman. Anyhow, yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. But what happened with me and her is that she tried to get me arrested, and she didn't think it would get back to me. So what happened is I had a good friend that worked as one of the department heads, somebody that I know without a shadow of a doubt would not lie on her for absolutely no reason. So this person called me and said, JB, what's going on with you and Tiffany? When he said that, I thought he meant romantically. I said, nothing's going on, because I don't kiss and tell. He said, no, she's trying to have you arrested. I said, arrested for what? Arrested for what? He's like, she's saying that you've been following her around and she feels uncomfortable. And I'm just, my blood, I thought that I was a completely changed person after all these years in prison, but I realized that I still suffered from anger when I heard that. And he also said that Keith Freeman said that he had rumors that I was going to shoot him on sight. I was so pissed because the person that it came from, I know for a fact they're not going to lie on her. So once I seen that she was trying to have me arrested, I realized that she felt like the pressure of my background was too much for her and she couldn't shake the dark cloud of her political career. So she was trying to make, a means to get rid of me, but she did not know how because I was too professional. I spoke professionally, dressed professionally, came on time. She didn't know how to get rid of me. So when I heard that she was trying to have me arrested, I contacted Tom Slovic from Chicago Tribune, and I decided to tell my story, a story that she did not want me to tell, which is the truth about her knowing about my background. She knew the whole time. I watched this woman, and you can go research this and look this up yourself. I watched this woman get on a board meeting and cry, real tears, to the point where I knew she was lying, but she still almost convinced me. Even though I knew she was lying, I was literally finna move the tears too, and I knew she was lying. This is the truth. And she acted like she had to get pulled off camera and then brought back on camera and was still teary-eyed. I said, this woman is an incredible actor. And then I started retracting back to the relics in the past about all the stuff she said. And I was like, this woman probably been lying and been deceitful the whole time. So anyhow, that's how we fell apart. What caused her, let me go back a little bit before the part where I went to Tom Slovic. So initially she got recalled. The trustees wanted to recall her seat. The girl that worked for code enforcement that I won't say her name. I just heard that she was some type of street person. But anyhow,
And booster.
she was going around the village.
And uncertified.
She,
And a cracky.
I'm sorry. She was going around the town telling village employees that I was a rapist.
Wait, the other inspector said
Yes.
you was a rapist?
Yes. So, yeah, so I took it to Tiffany because I had both Tiffany's phone numbers, and I still do. I
So
took
the real
it to
phone and the burner phone, because she keeps those.
She had 2 cell phones,
Okay.
2 iPhones.
Okay.
And that she kept on her at all times. I had both those numbers, and I would call her any time of the day for any reason. So I called her and told her, you need to talk to your friend because it's going to be an issue if she keeps going around the village spreading mud on my name. So Tiffany acted like she was appalled by it. You know, oh, I'm going to check her, this, that, and the third, and do nothing. So I'm going to tell you. So she went to some type of outing that I didn't go to. And Mrs. Johnson, Karen Johnson, came back and told me that Tiffany was at that same outing after saying she was going to check this girl about what she said. She was out this outing and praising her, talking about she was one of her best code enforcement officers, and that just enraged me. And so when she did that, that's when I decided not to deal with Tiffany, period. So for the YouTuber that keeps saying, oh, she left the veil and jumped to the other dude, no, she didn't do that. I left her alone. So when I think that she didn't check this girl about calling me out my name and dragging my name, I left Tiffany alone. So Tiffany was scared because she thought literally she was going to be recalled. She only won the recall of technicality. She would literally be out of there right now. But she was terrified. She was scared, so she had the girl named Cheryl to call me, tow truck lady. And when she called me, she said, listen, Tiffany want to know, can you come out with her on the recall? Yes, she wanted me to walk down the street with her for protection or just help politically, period, with it. I told her, man, lose my number. I'm not helping her do nothing. And after that, when I would come through Village Hall, Tiffany would be there. She would give me these puppy dog eyes, like, is this what we own now? And I just walked past her like she didn't exist. I left her alone effectively when I seen that she didn't check that girl and stood on about dragging my name in the mud, because I literally would not let nobody say nothing about Tiffany. You couldn't say nothing about her in my presence, and people knew that. My presence. And people knew that. So when I seen that she didn't give me the same respect.
Yo. So he's saying that he left Tiffany alone because she ain't staying on business. Not her. Not the big dog. Not the power of the mayor. So far we heard that Keith Freeman is a snake. We're going to see how much of a snake he is, because he still is with Tiffany, and allegedly when he's saying that the guy that he don't want to speak on or say the name when he called her phone, I think it was Keith. I swear, something in my bones is giving me Keith. We're gonna have to do a card reading on her ass. But yeah, I'm thinking that it's Keith that she was dealing with. Now, she was dealing with him. She was allegedly already dealing with Keith before. We already heard that. But was she dealing with him at the same time she was dealing with Lavelle? We don't know that yet. And we already know that Kamal and Keith do not get along because of these same reasons. So that's how we already know that Keith Freeman hit that. We know that. Like, it's no question of it. Because why else would Kamal be mad or don't like him? Kamal cannot stand that man. Tiffany used her power to control people and make people move how she wants them to move. She moved people around. You feel what I'm saying? This guy, he don't really seem like he is all upset and this and the third. He lost a little job that probably was, you know what I'm saying? He was getting big dollars fucking with Tiff. Yeah, I'm quite sure he probably missed that money because now he probably got to get a real job that he is qualified for. Not a job that he wasn't because he was not qualified for the job that he had. So yeah, I know he probably is salty, but he ain't really shitting on them like a bitch ass nigga would. I'ma just say that. A bitch ass nigga would shit on her, tell all the business and all of that. He's still not well, he said he's saving it for his book. So put him on the chat if y'all want to buy his book if he put his book out.
And integrity, I left her alone. Period. Left her alone on all walks. The only reason why, and just because I left her alone didn't mean I flipped and was going on the trustee side. Because a lot of people think, oh, he ain't messing with Tiffany no more. He with the trustees now. He wasn't no with the trustees or Tiffany. I messed with the trustees the same way I messed with Tiffany. I wasn't with the childishness that Tiffany was on as far as, oh, we don't like the trustees, his team, us against them, they the ops, all that childish BS. I wasn't with none of that. I carried myself grown. Wow. You know, so I still spoke to them when I seen them in outings. You know, even though that was something she was transfixed against. But the fact is, the only time that I went to Tom Slovic and effectively defected on her and told my side of the story was when I seen she tried to have me arrested. When I seen she tried to have me arrested, the gloves was off. It was over with. So,
Could you put it a little closer because I can't see it. Yeah, I was trying to see what's up. I was trying to see something, but let me put it a little closer. So, intermission. Oh, okay, intermission. So let me say we're gonna get through. We're gonna be actually wrapping this up really soon. But I wanted to ask you. I wanted to switch gears here. I'm gonna do like this rapid fire kind of question thing. And I think that it's important that I also tell people our story. And there's a part of this that I think he doesn't know that I want to share with him. But what do you recall about, well, not the first time we met, because we met at the meeting. And he came and whispered in my ear and said, ain't nobody going to do nothing to you. Yeah, I remember that. I didn't know who the hell you was. I was like, who was this? He said, ain't nobody going to do nothing to you. But the second time I met you almost want to do something like I think the same thing. You almost want to do it. So the question is, so I'll let you tell the story about how we met the second time. And I'm going to tell you something I don't think you might have known. Okay. So what do you remember about the second time?
So just started going down. I'll be very honest with you. And I said I would be. There's been a lot of bullying going on in the village. There's been a lot of firing illegally. There's been a lot of silliness, locking people out there, all type of dumb stuff that's been going on, right? And so when I realized that people were being bullied, I wanted to be involved with it. So I took a host of people's phone numbers that were being bullied, threatened, and I told them I would respond faster than the police. So when I seen you come to the village, the spirit just told me God sent him here. I told Karen Johnson, I said, God sent him here. God sent that boy here. And I made a spiritual and mental note not to let nothing happen to you. If there's anybody that's watching this right now, you feel offended by that, we can meet well. But anyhow, I wasn't going to let nothing happen to you. And I don't really know if I'm a changed person as far as being perfect. I don't think I ever will be. When I went to prison, I didn't go to prison to change. I went to prison against my will. When I went to prison, I was a worse person because of the environment. But the one thing I've always been is a protector, always. You know, I was security for years, both professionally and in the streets. I never liked bullying. You know what I mean? So I was bullied as a child until I became a bully of bullies. And when I seen you come here, and I think that you became a looming threat for certain people, and I think that people could easily probably have something done to you, I wanted to be involved fully with that, and still do. Just not, as a matter of fact, speaking, yeah, I still do. A lot of people who I've been seeing, demonized, like Lacey. Personally, Lacey has never done nothing to me. I heard other people say what they said about him, causing the village millions of dollars and messing with people. He's always been respectful to me. I don't know for what reason, because maybe it's because of the way I carry myself. Maybe somebody told him something, but he's always been respectful to me. But the day that I saw you on video, and I saw him, and I saw the other guy, I thought that was live. I literally told Karen, like, where's their location at? Because I'm going to pull up. And she'll tell you that. But I realized it was already pre-recorded. But I did not want nothing to happen to you or anybody else that got bullied. Cassandra, anybody who they deem to be their ops. I'm the king op. I'm the king of that. Don't play with nobody in the village, period. I'm not going nowhere, period.
Well, I want to, and I think and I appreciate that, and I'm glad to hear that. We didn't really get to connect as much as I guess it sounds like we could have or should have. But you did express those things to me, and I really want you to wholeheartedly know I appreciate it. But what I'm talking about is my team had received this supposed tip in our investigation that Tiffany had went into a restaurant in Indiana. Gino's in Indiana. And it was our understanding that she had met with somebody who they said had the silhouette or they looked like you. Yeah, you didn't know this. And so what the tip was that she had hired you because you were down on your luck to take me out. And so I didn't know the veil, and I didn't know if it was true or not. But what I did was I started looking for the veil. the JB. I started looking for JB. So me and my team went and we started knocking on doors in the village of Dalton. Where you at? You looking for me? You trying to take me out? And out of the blue, you popped up. Everybody said they didn't see you. I know that's some people like you out there because everybody said they ain't know where you was or nothing about it. But you popped up. You literally, from what I understand, got out of work, came where I was. Now, what do you remember after that?
Well, I pull up a little rambunctious. You know what I mean? Here's the deal.
Okay, with these big words, boy. Tiffany could never talk to you. Rambunctious. I don't even know that was going on.
Yeah, so I'll tell you how that went. When it was finally unveiled to me that I was supposed to be some dude in Indiana with Tiffany, it was repulsive to me. I'm gonna be honest.
Did you know about that part?
I did not know until you told me.
Okay.
So let me say this for the records. I don't want nobody thinking I hate them. I don't hate Tiffany. I don't approve of the fakeness. I don't approve of the bullying. I don't approve of the backstabbing. I don't listen. Everything I said came true about Tiffany. Everything. Everything I said would happen to her happened in a nutshell. Back out the back. I said our whole team would flip on it because God don't like ugly. I'm a child of God, by the way. You can't play with me. And I'm sure Jedediah is a child of God too. So all the attacks, all the trying to demonize, all the putting YouTube videos out, all the going to Delgados, no matter what you do. I do believe she was initially favored by God. I think she fumbled her purpose. I think you fumbled your purpose. And if you do go to prison, let me say this. I have to say this. I don't know if you even gonna put this out here. I hope to God you don't go to prison. And I know that it's gonna offend some people because they'd much rather see you there because of all the nastiness you've been doing and keeping up all the chaos and catastrophe. I hope you do not go to prison simply because you do have a very weak mind. And if God sends you there, he's not going to send you there to punish you. He's going to send you there to get your attention again. And when I tell you, God will break you into pieces to get your attention, that's exactly what's going to happen to you. You're going to end up in a cell. You're going to end up in a cell the size of a bathroom with a woman you may or may not get along with.
No, she thinks she cute.
And I'll be honest with you. I heard a lot of people come out with the funny commentary about, you're going to get chicken and all that on certain days and all that. Listen to me. I'm going to tell you one thing. If you don't believe nothing nobody else tells you, when you go to prison, you are going to lapse into a darkness so deep. Depression is going to set in on you. You're going to come out begging God to give you a second chance. And you are never going to be or get afforded the opportunity that he initially gave you. You're going to learn to stop playing with God's name at board meetings. Stop saying that God gave you the opportunity to get it, because I know God wholeheartedly. And I was one of the most hard-headedest little boys on the streets. And God broke me into pieces in prison to the point where I didn't even remember my birthday. I was so depressed, I had to keep my head down. Guys, you tell me, lift your head up, man. Don't let them see you sweat. God destroyed everything I was to rebuild me into what I was. So when you see these guys on the news putting me out there saying, why JB don't look depressed? Why he don't look like it's tearing him down? Man, God rebuilds me into a warrior. Yeah. So it don't faze me. But you, come on now, you're 41 years old. I hope to God the feds don't take you to prison. Because if you get out at 60, and that gap between you reaching 60, God is going to destroy you in that. Destroy you. Yeah. When people see you. So on that note, we're going to stop this one. Yo, the shit got deep and real. Like, woo. I am hot. I am burning the fuck up right now. So, this is the things that I got out of that interview. And there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it. So, if y'all want to see the whole rest of it, this is probably like 30 more minutes left or whatever. But we got some other stuff to get into. Y'all can check the video on Jedediah's channel. Whew. But yeah, did y'all hear what he was saying? He said that she wanted to get him arrested because he didn't want to basically rock with what she was trying to rock with. And I just want to say this. Basically, back in the day, we used to call people like that turncoats. First of all, you rolling with me in the beginning, and this and the third, when shit got hot or getting hot, and I'm not with what you talking about and what you trying to do, and I'm not trying to do that, you turn on. You want to get me locked up, get me arrested. You want to fucking sick dogs on me and all of this stuff. Like, yo, that's what we used to call them, turncoats. I don't know what they call them now these days. Snakes, I think that's what they call them. But yeah, however, woo, yeah, we learned to kind of look. I know I learned a lot about her character, on that interview, and basically her character is fucked up. Her whole disposition is fucked up. Like at the end of the day, it's just I don't know, y'all. This is getting out of control. So let's jump into the trustees. Went to Joe Brown. He gave them advice and this and the third, what to do about Tiffany and this and the third, and la la la, boo boo boo. Woo, it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. I'm trying to tell you. Woo, yes, sir. A whole hell of a, yes, baby. But first, let me see. Where we at?
One more time. One more time. One more time. Baby. Deco album. That's how she gonna be looking in jail. Look at that. Your edges is not even edging. Your track ain't even on your. Come on, girl. Get the fuck. I know you fucking lying. Stop it. Stop it. You stole them people money and now the fuck you all glamorous. You're a glamorous girl now. Ugh. Throw it away. Just throw the whole lady away. Throw her away. Put her in a healthy bed. Healthy. Big strong. Like, yes. Hey, my baby. Where you been at? My rich stuff I look is in this beach. Yes. Girl, you just missed some bullshit. Yes, honey. All right, so we about to get into the Judge Joe Brown thing, the interview with Judge Joe Brown with the trustees. We about to check that out and see what that do. Yeah, but basically, Lavelle basically explained the kind of person that Tiffany is, or yeah, well is. I ain't even gonna say was is. You know, and that's fucked up. Like, you know, as a mayor, sometimes you have to change your ways, you know. And he said himself, he said he don't even know if he's a changed man. He been through so much in life as he was growing up as a child in Dalton now. But he said he don't even know if he changed. But I wish I could reach out to him because you are changed. I think you're a better man. What he said, anybody talk wrong to Tiff or do anything wrong, he was going to basically go to jail again. For this girl that didn't give no F's about him. You called her. He called Tiff and she would keep Freeman. Get the fuck out of here. Unbelievable. I'm glad that God intervened and showed them who she was before that man did something absurd or out of control that make him go back to jail. All right, let's take the check
Okay.
trustees.
So I've been a resident of the community for about the last 25 years now. And one day I live in a condo complex in the area, and
And I want to thank my mods for sending me this to review. So let's get into it. How long is this? Oh, this shit is too hours. I'll give y'all about 30 minutes of it.
a condo
And we can probably review the rest tomorrow.
unit in the building caught fire. So when it caught fire, things went a little haywire. My son and I, we were trapped inside, and we had to wait for the fire department to come and save us. And then it was then that I realized that the resources in the community are very important. So I met the current mayor at the time, and from then on, I became really active in the community in terms of volunteering, learning more about the community itself in regards to what they were doing at the moment in regards to our government. So that's when I really started paying attention to government in our town. I can't hear you.
So that led you to be a little more civic minded, and you just really wanted to get involved from them. And that was an amazing
Come on, y'all.
situation that you had to
Subscribe.
go through. How long ago was that, you say?
Maybe about 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
So your child obviously was much younger. I'm sure he did not know how to cope with all of that, and you had to just really put everything together.
Yes, I was actually in the midst of throwing him out the window. We stayed on the second floor. So because the smoke started filling up in the hallway, so we couldn't use the front door. So I was gonna throw him off the balcony, and I was trying to push him out, but he was kind of strong. So as I was pushing him out, he was pushing back in, and I couldn't get him outside properly because I had some people at the bottom that were carrying. We had threw out our bedding, holding it, so they were gonna break his fall, but he didn't trust it too much.
So, bitch, though, my look, this is the beginning of Judge Joe Brown. I just did an interview with the Lavelle guy with Jetty. So this is the beginning of the Joe Brown thing. So I haven't seen it yet. So we're gonna watch a little bit of this about I'm gonna say about 10:30, and then I'm gonna pick up tomorrow where I left off.
So we waited until by the time we went back and forth, the firefighters had made it, and they came with their ladder and they returned us to safety.
Very good. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Amen. I'm glad you're here. And how about you, Miss Kiana? Because you know I want to talk to you about the penny candy. I done told you that already. So hey, go ahead.
I've actually been in Dalton for the last 20 years. I got involved in politics and the community roughly in about 2007. I did an internship at the Dalton Police Department. I was getting my bachelor's in criminal justice. And so I'm like, oh, I live in the community. Let me see if I could do internship at the police department. When I did that internship, I realized a lot of things that was going on, and most of them was political, how money was being spent, how people were being promoted, and it led me to start going to meetings every month, start asking questions, start FOIAing things. So when I went back to get my degree in political science, I wanted to see, because it was a couple of years later, and all this information that I had gathered and kind of suggestions that I was going back and forth with, I wanted to go back to see had any of it been implemented. And from there, I became vice president of NAACP, Far South Suburban Branch. I'm also a member of the Order of the Eastern Star, so definitely a lot of networking, and just continue to move forward and making sure that I did the best representation I could for the community.
Creating a new campaign has never been easier than with Copilot in the Microsoft advertising platform.
That's very good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. Now, I know that Brittany, you are a realtor.
Yes.
Okay, tell us about that.
So I've been a licensed realtor for the last 9 years. My 9-year anniversary was a few months ago.
Okay.
With my son being young, I was looking for something that I can do, a flexible career. And I decided real estate. I figured I'd show some homes and provide an income for my child at the same time because he was younger. And from there, I just really loved it. So I've been doing it ever since.
So are either of you young ladies married?
No.
You're not married. Okay, so gentlemen. The Yenta in me says, gentlemen. No, just joking. These are some nice young ladies who have it on the ball, if you ask me. And if I had sons that were available, I'd be like, gentlemen. So, because you guys are really doing it. I mean, and that's an awesome thing to note. You know what I'm saying? You guys really are. Now, let me ask you something. How has the last 2 years for you been in your, and I don't want to say total personal life, but how has the past couple of years affected you guys? Because let me tell you, publicly, from what we all see, you ladies and the rest of the trustees have gone through a lot. You guys were on trustees at the same time when Tiffany Henyard was a trustee. Is that yes or no?
No.
You guys were not. So you guys came after she was elected mayor.
Correct.
Okay.
I actually
Okay.
ran with her. So I ran
Okay.
her ticket.
Okay.
Trustee Norwood ran on the opposite person's ticket, but
Okay.
ran on her ticket in 2021. So that would be considered my first elected term.
Now I do notice that here's what I noticed, because I have done a little digging, but one of the publicly known things was that at one time Holmes was running for mayor, and so was Mr. Brown. Is
That's
that correct?
Yes, Andrew Holmes actually was in the race for mayor when Tiffany ran. Well, the current mayor ran. I don't like to give her no.
Yeah, I know. Just say, yeah, the current mayor. Because
Current
we
mayor
all
ran.
know, why we're here, what brings us together.
The
But I
current
just
mayor.
found that curious. I found that really curious. I was like, wow. So he ran against you, and then I guess when he ran separately, people just said, okay, cool, let's just go with him. And then I also noticed Mr. Brown was running against her or somebody. They both ran for mayor, and I just found that unique.
Yes,
But I guess
Brown ran prior to. So the current mayor was a trustee at the time, and she was running for re-election as her spot, and Stan Brown was running for mayor. So it was stagnating times. So.
I'm just going to state this, and you all don't have to give a comment on it. I'm going to state it because I know that a lot of people are thinking about this elephant in the room, and that is the mugshot that everybody saw publicly. And for me, this is for me. This isn't about these young ladies. This is me saying this, okay, folks? So we all get it clear. I just can't see how any citizen would vote for someone who openly had an actual mugshot at the same time being a trustee, because the dates overlap one another. And though that's something that's the obvious. I've seen that. I read that. My assistant and I looked at that, and we found it very curious. But I want to ask you guys, are the people of Dalton, like general Black communities, very trusting people, very down home, trusting, give the shirt off their back to people? Do they trust a lot? Is that part and parcel of why we're able to see so much going on in Dalton right now? Hello, Judge. How are you? It's good to see you. Everything is everything. And there you are with your Judge Joe Brown barbecue in the background, your sauce. Yay. Not only does he have sauce, but he also has links, and he also has all kinds of good stuff. If you guys go to the website, we're going to show the commercial here in a few minutes. And when we do, I want everybody to run immediately and get your barbecue sauce, because it is grilling time. We have what's coming up? The 4th.
4th of July. And if you want to get it in time for the 4th, you can go to Amazon, and they usually deliver in 2 days. And actually, there's no shipping if you have Amazon Prime. So Amazon, Judge Joe Brown barbecue products. And that's
there
Tiffany
you are.
Haddish did that commercial with me. So
Okay.
anyway, he's an investor in the operation.
Well, good. I need to go ahead and throw a few of my bucks in there.
There you go.
I was just about to say, we mentioned the real estate part, but I'm also a licensed insurance agent also. So in case anyone need life insurance.
Too late to worry about that. I'm old and decrepit, and,
No, you're not. No, you're not. I don't believe
You
that.
still got it.
You still got it. See, we say you still got it. You got it. Judge Joe Brown, welcome, sir. We are asking questions just to generally get to know Trustee Kiana Belcher and then Trustee Brittany Norwood. If you'd like to have any questions, or if you'd like to take off, go ahead and take off. Let me give everybody the opportunity to know what we're talking about with the barbecue sauce first, and then I'm gonna let it rip. I'm gonna let you go ahead and have it, Judge Joe Brown. So here we go, folks. Go ahead, sir.
So I can catch up with where you ladies are right now. So
okay, no worries at all. So before we go any further, it's about 12 minutes into the show, and I do want to let some of you folks know where you can find that delicious barbecue sauce. In tandem with that, don't forget, if you want it before the 4th of July, just as he stated a few minutes ago, all you've got to do is go to Amazon and get it in a couple of days. Hey everyone, it's me, Felicia, of the Lockhart Perspective and Headlines with a Voice. I want to tell you a little secret. This is what I used to do.
I'm about to
but
want.
don't do
I
it
want
anymore.
some.
I would go to the store, buy the barbecue sauce, pour it inside of a bowl, put a whole bunch of different spices, a dash of brown sugar, a dash of maple, and a dash of mustard, stir it all around, and everybody would be like, oh my gosh, this is the best, this is the best. But I was exhausted after all of that. And a lot of times I couldn't remember how many dashes of what I put
Thank
in.
you, Mr.
I don't have to do that
Look,
anymore.
it's coming.
Because now I just go to Judge Joe Brown's website and I order his 3-pack of bottled barbecue sauce. It is by far the best. And I do mean the best barbecue sauce I've ever eaten. And when you go to his website and you order his 3-pack, you'll see exactly what I mean. Head on over to jjbbbq.com and order
Let's
Judge
go.
Joe Brown's barbecue sauce. You'll be glad you did. And you can tell me about it. I know you will.
All right. I was trying to cheat and put some more shea butter on my lips. Anyway, there you go, folks. You know where to go to get it. And I'm going to play it again because as you guys already know over here, we play it at the end of almost every one of the videos that are produced here on Headlines with a Voice, the Lockhart Perspective, as well as TLP. Headlines with a Voice. So going ahead and continue, ladies, with telling me about, what started you to do what you're doing and how you guys got elected. So you ran on, what was your campaign? What were you running on, Brittany? When you ran, what was your statement of trust? What did you have to say? And what do you stand for now?
At the time, my whole goal was just to do the best thing for the community. That was pretty much it. I mean, I've been through, I've learned that transparency and accountability and all of these things are very important. But stepping into it, I just thought that this would be the best way for me to help the community, which most of our residents are longtime residents. So most of the residents that still live here at this very moment, I graduated with a lot of their children from high school. So we deserve the best in this community. And that was my goal, to help however I could with that.
Very good. And how about you, Kiana Belcher?
We ran on accountability and transparency. And we ran on accountability and transparency because anybody that has their research will see that some of our previous mayors, let me say this, they get into the position and they become self-serving and not public servants. And our job is we take an oath to make sure that anything that we're accountable for, especially to the community, we should be doing. So there was an issue at the previous mayor that we seen some things that the community just wasn't happy with. And we made a decision to run. So we need more transparency. We need more accountability for some actions that had come about in the village of Dalton.
Okay, let me ask you this. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So you saw those things that happened in the village of Dalton, and because you found that there was no transparency, it made you want to run, and it made you it brought you to the place that you're at now. My question is, considering what you saw before, how do you feel now? Do you feel like you've bitten off more than you can chew?
I do not. And I would say this again, because I used to advocate all the time to say, ask questions, produce you can say anything, but if it's in black and white, there's, you got to have some receipts. That's why they always say you got to have some proof. And going into this, we thought we had somebody that was going to make a difference because she had a lot of support and a lot of people behind her. Although my degree is not in finance, most of my background is in finance. And Mr. House, Trustee House, is in finance. And then when Trustee Norwood as a realtor, so housing. So we have and then Tammy Brown, Trustee Tammy Brown, human resource. So we have a diverse background of specialties that Okay, even if she's a face, we would be able to support her to make the community a better place for what our goal was. And
Now, let me ask you, you guys have you've been held, you've been suppressed as it relates to a lot of different things that's going on that you should be voting on. One of the things that I wanted to ask you was the public news article that just showed us about the pension fund for the firefighters. You all are let me ask you, how do you guys play a role in dealing with the placement of fire chiefs and things of that nature, promotions for police? Don't you guys have to vote on that type of stuff?
Yes.
And so as it relates to just what we just saw for this gentleman who came up and said, hey, we're asking questions, where is the pension? Is your pay structure and who pays you separate from who pays them? Or is it all lumped together? In other words, their pension is different than if you are than if you have a retirement or a 401k, right? And pardon my ignorance on that. I'm just asking because I want to know how they were able to have monies taken away from them and not know it.
So let me correct it because I think a lot of people get confused.
And I'm glad
they're 457, which is not the pension. It's like a 401k or a savings. So this money is taken out of their checks bi-weekly to go to a company that in turns hold the money and draw interest. It's nothing that the Village of Dawson actually matches or anything. It's their 457 where it's taken out of their check. So the concern is if it's taken out of their check and supposed to go to the company is called Nationwide to be held, withdraw interest or, as a savings, Nationwide is not getting it. And if they're not getting it, that means somebody is getting it or it's being deposited into an account that it does not should be deposited into. So when they start receiving letters and start contacting, just in reference to hearing some, rumor bill that, oh, the money is not going in, they start looking into it. Prior to it, we had already had issues about their contract because they're going into the 5th year without a contract.
How is that possible?
And this is even goes to sometimes, it does fall behind, but that should be something that's a priority that even when we vote on a budget yearly, those budgeted included the retro pay of monies that's owed to the departments. So if we vote on it and we expect that most of the time the contracts say maybe 90 to 4 months that the money should be paid out, and we see that the money is being spent on things that's not budgeted for, then you're going to see that in some department you're going to lose. So that became an issue. And when the new president, Adam, decided to go public, and his statement was, I am the chair of the fire department, and she tried to remove me from being the chair. But the communication is, these are our public servants. These are our firefighters. This is what, you call 911, sick, ambulance, they're coming. So when you start playing with their 457 money, when you start playing with, you still haven't did a contract, it's 5 years, you're playing with their livelihood. Then they're getting bills in the mail about our health insurance. Wives pregnant and they're getting bills about health insurance, which is money that's taken out for their premiums that's not being paid. And nobody can give us an explanation of the finances of the village. We have not had a financial report since September of 2023.
That's what I was about to ask you. When is the last time you saw one? So you're coming up on a year without having seen a financial report.
That is correct.
One whole year.
That's correct.
Is the village broke?
I believe so. I'm going to say it. I believe so. And I believe that at that time, we were $7 million in a deficit. And of course, we do receive tax monies, but we can't even bring businesses into the community right now because all of the dysfunction that's going on. Nobody wants to bring a business into our community, which is a problem.
Judge,
Now, the
go
suggestion
ahead.
is what you need is an independent audit and not just a computer audit, because there are hacks that can be put into a computerized system with programming fudges. You want a paper spreadsheet. There are professional auditing concerns. One that comes to mind, and I've used them personally in the past, they also audit for United Airlines and Delta and such like, and they're trusted by IRS. Deloitte and Touche, they're not as expensive as they might seem. And get an audit done to see where the money is going. And when you have this where the money is coming out of the fireman's checks, but it's not going to the company that is managing the pension fund, somebody is stealing. And that is a manifestation of a trend all across the country to use politics as a stepping stone to personal wealth. You see this when you hear that a national figure who's been making, say, $155,000 a year on a government salary is held in office for 6 years, but is worth $29-30 million. Somebody's being a crook. So when you see this kind of thing, it is interesting. You may find that there is some statute on the state level that requires that people filed an accurate financial report and also a conflict of interest. That's usually through the statewide election commission or whatever stands in for that. Take a look at it and find out where the money is going and what people are claiming. And most importantly, go to a website and write this down. It's called followthemoney.org. followthemoney.org. If you get the right thing, it will be sort of a maroon with a yellow banner on it. And what you want to do is input your state municipality and you put in the people's names. And this concern just coordinates what people have reported as receiving and other people have reported as paying out. So you might find who's getting what from what major corporation, what major interest, what small interest. It will give you when they got it and how much they got and what is the stated purpose. And it also will record what they've had to file as a payout, which they might not tell the taxpayers. So look at that, followthemoney.org, and you can look up your individual representatives for the most part and see what they've done as per their reports to the statewide election commission or whatever the reporting agency might be. That's a step so you can track it down. I've run into situations where I've consulted where computers have bogus programming in them and the hacks are not apparent and the money is not apparent, but doing an old-time paper spreadsheet shows that there are deficiencies. In one case, some people decided they were going to scapegoat the woman who was elected to manage such things, but she had been astute enough to have done a paper audit, and it showed the people who were accusing her as having been implicated in thieving between $28 and $30 million from the county government. So you can find out some interesting things.
Whoa, that's a lot of money. That is good to know. Thank you, Judge. I want to also ask you all now, what have you all done to try to prevent these things from happening? And will you run down a list of things that you've been shut out of? Because I know FOIA requests are not being honored as one point of what can't be seen. But what else have you all been shut out of?
So overall, we have a term that that we use, and is nobody is coming to save us, right? So I heard that you stated, and I know even the judge was saying the things that we could put in effect that should work. Our issue is that we have ordinances put in place. So every time there's, in the beginning, when we first come to the conclusion that there was mismanagement of money or the money wasn't being appropriated the right way, in the first few months in the beginning, we started going over our ordinances and making sure that we had ordinances put in place that would, for instance, we have an ordinance saying that the mayor, our mayor could only spend so much without the board approval. So at one point it was $1,500, and we put this in place so that anything over the $1,500 would mean that she would have to come to the board. Well, it was at that time that we realized that she wasn't following the ordinances. So we put it in place, but she wasn't following it. So then we said, well, okay, we come to the realization that a lot of things that we weren't approving as a board were being paid out. So we said, okay, we went to our attorneys and we said, what could we do to save us? Because a lot of money was being spent that wasn't budgeted for. So at that time, we went to court, and the court decided to remove her. Well, first, we wanted to remove her off the bank account. In the beginning, that was a bit successful for maybe like a year or so. And at that time, that at least made it a little bit harder for them to spend the money, but they were still finding ways around it. And then we realized that we probably needed to remove her overall because she continued to spend money, even though we had these court rulings in place and we had all these ordinances, and she just wasn't working with us as a board. So we put a recall in effect, and we actually run the recall via the community. So we had enough residents that said, hey, you all are absolutely right. There's mismanagement, all of these things are going wrong. And if we didn't remove her at the moment, we felt as if we would be in a lot of trouble in terms of as a village. So we did win via the people, but there was a technicality, I guess, with the courts where they kind of overruled our recall. And here we are. Oh.
Let me ask you something. Does your state have a Freedom of Information Act?
Yes.
You ever thought of evoking that to find out what in the devil they're actually sitting on?
We have more than 20 something lawsuits because they refuse to provide any information. So people are suing us because they're not providing any information.
Even a news company is suing you guys, aren't they?
Even the news, the WGE and Channel 9 is suing us. It has been to the Attorney General's office. It's just something that it's sad. It's sad. It's embarrassing. But we just have someone that does not care about the laws and is getting away with it.
That's what I want to know. I want to ask. I just want to blatantly say, how is it? And if anybody in the chat knows, please let me know. How was this lady able to become the mayor if she was arrested for breaking in the cars in Chicago? I mean, that was something that is blatant. It's something that was public. People in the chat, if you know the answer, let me know, because that was a clear and evident indication that this individual had the propensity to break laws with impunity. And I think that speaks volumes. If I'm in a community and I find that there's a person that's running for an office and they just got arrested for breaking into cars, then that tells me that there's something not right. And I don't know, you guys, Judge, I don't know.
Let me make a suggestion. I tuned in late. I know who you're talking about, but if anybody else did, they wouldn't know who you're talking about. So every now and then drop the name of the individual in question.
Well, I agree that, and we are talking, I said there's a lady that wants to know, who is protecting Tiffany. Let me just say this, and I appreciate you for being here, Melanated Beauty, but I'm going to address that. Here is the cold hard facts. The fact is that we do have this individual who is in office, and that is Ms. Tiffany Henyard. I don't know her personally. I would love the opportunity to speak with her and allow her to say what it is that she wants to say in all fairness. But what I will tell you is what I can see publicly is what I have to go by. And that's generally the only thing that we can protect is our public reputation and the things that we've done within our neighborhood, our community, for our jobs, for our family. Anything that's done publicly is the only thing that we have or others have to go by and base what they think about us on. So based on what I see, and nobody's ever said anything about it, I don't understand how we can vote somebody in. And by we, I mean the individuals there in that city or in that township or in that county or whatever it is. I don't know how they could vote her in after knowing, as a mayor, after knowing or after seeing that. Now, if it was fictitious and a lie, then somebody needs to come out with that and say, hey, what you all saw with that mugshot, that was not me. It was CGI, or it was a lie, or it never happened. The unfortunate piece is that it's backed up by websites that are tied to jails, a city jail, for example. So with that in mind, I just wonder, at what point in America are we going to get to the place, and this is a rhetorical question, but are we going to get to the place where when we see something out there like that in these streets and in the world, that we begin to believe it? That's the deal.
A clue. The culprits who really need to be turned out of office, they're always relying on, if they're male, it's white supremacy after me because I'm being an effective somebody black. And if it's a sister, they're dumping on me because I'm a black woman. And when you hear that language, you know something crooked is going on, because 9 times out of 10, the majority of the voters in the area are black. And most of the people that they have to deal with are black officials. So where is the white supremacy, and who are the folk dumping on the good sisters? So bottom line is that this needs to be exposed. You have to engage in a PR campaign. So you've got New York Times versus Sullivan, U.S. Supreme Court, 1962. It says that a public figure is basically wide open to political criticism. Get on it. Start getting the local media information and start making demands. Start introducing resolutions to require the mayor's office produce the documents in question. And by the way, you probably have a state agency that is frothing at the mouth to try to get at this. So evoke it.
I'm going to, here's what I'm going to do. I want you guys to take a look at this, because this is one of the, first of all, for the voters' appeal, there was a technicality that I don't think that you all, that your attorneys or whomever knew beforehand, but it was based on a precedent that was never set. First off, there was no precedent that showed that anybody other than perhaps a governor or whatnot would be able to be recalled. So she was able to stay based on that technicality that the attorneys took ahead. Let me read it to you, Judge. I will give you a little bit of it so that you will know where we are. Okay, so let's just see. Both the referenda were on the same ballot. So the referenda as well as the other portion were all on the same ballot. And accordingly, when the voters voted to recall Henyard on June 28, 2022, they were voting upon a nullity, because when they voted, that dog sounds like my dog, and I thought it was my dog in the background. Totally threw me off. I'm sorry. That's one of y'all's babies.
That's mine.
That's your baby. Okay, because I was like, why am I just distracted?
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
I keep talking. I'll put
you
on
mute. Okay. So accordingly, when the voters voted to recall Henyard on June 28, 2022, they were voting upon a nullity, because when they voted, there was no approved procedure in place allowing any Dalton official to be recalled. The justices issued a permanent injunction forbidding the referendums from taking effect. Henyard has been represented in the case by the attorney Scott B. Erdman of Chicago and Robert L. Winden of Winden Strategies of McHenry. what I will say is there has been a lot of boasting based on the fact that nobody could overthrow her. And I'm just gonna come out and say it because I can. I don't want you all to say it, but I'm gonna say it. There is a very strong and a concerted effort to keep this woman in position. What it is, I don't know, but I do know that if it was anybody else, if it was Keisha or Pookie Nim, okay, that didn't have the backing of somebody, they would have already been gone. And that's just me. I'm just saying that. If it was Pooh Keisha, if it was Keisha Nim, if it was Ray Ray or Man Man, they would have already been gone. But for whatever reason, I've never seen anybody have such big sluggers in their corner. I mean, big cats. I mean, these cats got long running jobs as attorneys. Some of these cats. So go ahead.
Can I make a comment about that?
Yes.
The unfortunate part about this whole situation is that that what you read is correct, but there has been a trustee recalled in the state of Illinois before, and it didn't have to have a already in place to do it. So with that saying, the technicality, yes, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that because she holds the position as the township supervisor, which is the largest township in the state of Illinois, where all of the contracts are, where all of the money that runs through and resources that holds a lot of power in the state of Illinois. Her predecessor, which is Frank Zuccarelli, who passed away
suddenly.
Who passed away, had been in that seat for years, and he was the powerhouse of the South suburbs. So we're getting the spotlight because if she was just the mayor, she probably would have been out of that seat. But because she holds the position as the supervisor, has given her the ability to have a lot of heavy hitters behind her that impacts what's going on and who will put her out and who won't put her out.
I don't believe she's going anywhere.
Ladies, if I might make a suggestion as to what to look to, perhaps it's this. Usually when you see the kind of situation that you are confronting, there's money laundering going on and criminal enterprise. And if you look closely, start with that thing, followthemoney.org. It may give you a clue as to what's happening. Missy spends a lot of time on getting her weave together, it looks like, and her nails done and sashaying around trying to be hot. But what you're describing is someone that is a conduit.
Now, why would he call her Miss? Why would he call her Miss? Missy Spender. No, Judge Gilbert. Her name is Tiffany. Not Missy. Don't say no dang on Miss. But yeah, I already told y'all that they was washing money and they moving money around. It's money laundering. And at the end of the day, I already said that. Some of this stuff is coming out that I already said from the before. From the whole beginning. So, y'all, we're going to write this timestamp down. The timestamp is going to be 4022. I'm going to just make it 4020. 4020. And we're going to have to pick this up tomorrow. A bitch got to get some rest. You feel what I'm saying? I love y'all so much. Yes. Yes. Here we go. But we going to have to go tomorrow. I got a late start today. It was some things going on and all of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? But I still came through for a little bit, you know, about what? 2 hours? Yeah. Baby gotta go. Baby gotta go. But yeah, we got this time scan. Go tomorrow. Come through. I'm trying to set it up for at least I want to say 6:30, 7 o'clock. I'm trying to get an early start on it tomorrow so we can do the damn thing. But yeah, that's where we gonna pick it up at tomorrow. So y'all, if y'all ain't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit that like button. And please make sure y'all holler at your girl. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for tuning in. And everybody be safe. And I love y'all. That's all I have to say.